Hey. Somebody just asked me before I came up here, my friend asked me before I came up here, if Noah ever played a musical instrument. He actually played a musical instrument. He played the baritone. And back in the day, you had to carry your musical instrument back and forth from school, which is for us about a mile, uphill both ways. The baritone, imagine. And so he would put it on a skateboard and ride it to school, and then push it back up the hill. There's a moral in there somewhere, maybe an analogy, metaphor. I'll leave it up to you to figure what that is. Boxes. I wrote this about Doa. It's called Return to Sender. I watch a 7-year-old boy run around the house, closing all the doors he can. His mother chases behind him, opening them up again. You have to excuse him. He has this thing with doors. She apologizes as he closes them behind her. What, I wonder, is he shutting us in for? Is he kicking the future out in the cold, or keeping the past warm inside? His first kiss will lock up the house so his innocence can sneak out the window at midnight, leaving behind the skeleton key in the closet. Slamming a case of truth, he swaggers through the salon doors of youth. They flap a farewell clap as he slaps a bet on the wheel of fate. From the gates scramble the Greyhound buses, chasing a gray hare on a race to the finish line. A lifetime award of pastel cross stitches under suburban safety codes. There's no escape except over fences barred with rumors. Run away now, boy, while my foot is in the back door, unless you happen to be in the market for what's in store. Are you who I've become after 7 years? Since I warded off neighbors and closed the book on friends, when they gathered baskets in the hunt for a casket, I stole cement from the cemetery and stripped the gallows to board up my windows. Only a secret knock on my locker would lower the plank. The cupboard of my heart echoes no one home when opened, and I'm the man you face when you close the medicine cabinet. I won the telegram lottery that claims my father had boarded the Westbourne train. There's coffin in the telephone before I hear a black hole crack, stating that his condition is grave. The pitfalls of stoplights ignite fires behind my eyes while panic steams off the lava of traffic. I open my wallet to a picture of handsome him to identify and sign on the line. My hand, some squid, lanced with a pen. In this rat maze of laboratory walls, I don't want to solve the mystery of why I can't squeeze past the hospital doors you could drive an ambulance through. And follow me, excuse me, I'm sorry. And there was the last course of my sanity, served up on a stainless steel tray. Tell me how to pull this ring out of my ears, and tell me why I can't pull this ring off his stiff finger. Tell me why the clock is going backwards, and my legs are too numb to run from this nightmare. Tell the nurse to put me in the deep sleep with him. Put a tag on my barking dogs before someone finds them far from home, far from fitting into time slots and putting feet to meters, from turning on a dime to get bucked by $1, from renting parking spots on penitentiary cots, along toll booth freeways firing magazines of signs, someplace where I can find what boxes we make of ourselves when we run out of doors. I wrote this about my brother. Because I'm coming to an end of a very long chapter that started 23 years ago. See, my brother was the one that had to identify my dad's body when he died of a heart attack 23 years ago. My dad had a sudden heart attack when he went to go work out at the gym. Most of the family members were out of town except for my brother and my sister. But my brother was the one who could get to the hospital the soonest because my dad was a donor and they had to begin transplanting. And I always thought that my brother just identified the body and went on, but come to find out that he sat in that room with my dad for a long time and took the wedding ring off his finger. And part of me believes that my brother left a part of himself in that room and never left. And the person that came out was a different person. He was carrying a ghost. So I tried to talk to my brother about losing our dad a lot, numerous times. And he either didn't want to or couldn't or just flat out refused. And so instead of heal, we drank. Now, about 10 years later, my brother's falls became worse and worse, and he had finally broken his back. And I had stopped talking to him because it was breaking my heart. I didn't know when the next time was going to be the last time. And I had two beautiful children that I had to take care of, and I had to take care of them and not him. And so I didn't speak to him for about 2 years. And then on the wisdom of one of my students, I went out one night to go track him down and talk to him again. It was around the holidays. I drove up into Manitou and did the loop and parked, and then I went into the Ancient Mariner. And it was a busy night, and I walked through, and I didn't see him anywhere. And then, right as I was leaving, there I saw him, alone, and he was passed out. And he was like slumped over, he was like a piece of furniture, like a ghost. And the people he was with were having a great time, and they were watching the band, but left him alone. A tableau I'm sure some of you are familiar with. So I sat down in front of him, and I spoke his name until finally he came around. And when he finally came around, he was so angry, and he said, "I should just slap the shit out of you. Where the fuck have you been?" And I tried to explain to him, I have a family I have to take care of. I have a job that's doing great. Thanks for asking. And as I was trying to explain myself, he reached over and he hit me over the head as hard as he could. So I wanted to clean the bar with him, but I realized that he can hate and hurt himself 10 times more than I ever could. So I left, and by the time I got to my car, he came stumbling out after me. And after he had broken his back, he had drank too much, he couldn't really keep himself upright. And then I just felt really bad for him. So I ran back over, and I tried to hold him up and walk him back into the bar where his friends were. And as I was walking him back, this car pulls up, and this man leans out and says, "Hey, Doa, where you been?" And Doa says, "Well, I was out having drinks, so at the Ancient Mariner, just come on." And his friend says, "Dude, no, where have you been?" I've been sitting out in front of your house for like the last half hour. Well, why are you doing that? Because you told me to meet you there. I've been sitting out there for the last half an hour, you didn't show up. And Shenandoah said, oh, well, Hal, why don't you come out with us right now? I'm with my brother, let's go have some drinks. And his friend says, hey, look, here's your Christmas present I was gonna give you. I've already wasted my night, I'm gonna go home. I'll see you later. And my brother kept on trying to convince him. And he says, no, man, I gotta go. And then my brother says to him, oh, come on. Where's your sense of adventure? My brother was so brilliant. He had the kind of brilliance that made smart people feel dumb. When I was a kid, if you left him alone, he could read 3 books in a day. He could ace tests without even studying for them. He understood things that some of us will spend our whole life trying to understand. And I don't know if many of you know what it feels like to share a childhood and to grow up next to such a brilliant light, and yet feel so alien to that light. Because I had forgiven him so many times. Because he was my twin. He was my double. But I wondered what had troubled him so for so many years, and I tried to understand through so many things, through painting and through poetry. And for a long time I thought it was because we had lost a father. But I think you could only drink on that card for only so long. And I had to face this in myself. And that I think he did it because he was alone. And if it's a surprise to you that my brother went so early, I don't know if you're really paying attention. Because the last drink that you had with my brother was your last drink that you had with him, and we can pat ourselves on the back for that later. Because he died alone on the cold ground. And we could choose to remember that brilliant light or the ghost. But I don't know if it matters, because all that he left us was the ghost. And maybe that's what we deserve.